Oh, it's so nice to see all of you all today over here. And are you kids familiar with Navkar mantra? Do you all know anything? Does mom, dad tell you how that you need to say Navkar mantra? How many of you know? Put your hands up. Oh, that's very nice. Very good. So today we are going to talk about what is really the meaning of Navkar mantra and how does it benefit all of us. So Navkar mantra is also known as Namaskar Maha Mantra, Namokar mantra or Navkar mantra. It is chanted daily and sometimes several times in the day by almost all the Jains around the world. Basically, it is a mantra of Jainism. Navkar mantra is considered as a very important mantra since ages. Like your mom taught you, her mom taught her mom taught her, and it just goes on. It's there since ages. People chant this mantra before they start any important task. Like mom tells us to chant it before we begin our day, as soon as we begin our day. They like to recite this mantra before the beginning and of every children's Swadhyay that we have in India or every Yuva Swadhyay that we have in India. We begin the Swadhyayas with this Navkar mantra. By saying Navkar mantra, what are we really doing? We are reciting names of highly elevated beings that will take us higher. And that is only if we recite it with understanding. That's why today, even though you all are all very, very small, but we must know why we recite it and what is the meaning of Navkar mantra. Before we begin this, I'll have a little session where I'll ask you a few riddles. Why did the kid bring a ladder to school? Why?
To get to high school.
Yes, because she wanted to go to a high school. Very nice. Clap for him. What's your name? Abel. Clap for him. Okay, there's another one. Okay. Why was the teacher wearing sunglasses to school? No, same person cannot answer. Why was the teacher wearing sunglasses to school? No one? Okay, because she had bright students. Like I have bright students. So this was just a little bit of deviation from the topic. Now this mantra is so powerful that after saying it just once, it will benefit us for days to come. It's very, very powerful. Now I'll tell you a small story about this. Do you all know any Lord Parshvanath? Right? Do you know Lord Mahavir? You know Lord Mahavir? No, this is Vasupujya Baba. But Lord Mahavir, then there was Lord Parshvanath, who was the Tirthankar before Lord Mahavir. Now when he was a prince, and once when he was small, like all of you all, he was walking with his attendant, and he saw one yagna, one spiritual ceremony, religious ceremony being done, where there was fire and the priests were chanting mantras around the fire. The small boy, because he was a Tirthankar, he saw that inside the log of the fire, there were two snakes. And he told the priests that please stop the yagna. There are snakes inside the log of wood. But they refused to listen to him. They said, you're a small prince, what you will understand? And then he asked his attendant to take the log out from the yagna and break it open. And then there were two snakes inside. But because of the fire, the snakes were almost going to die. What did Lord Parshvanath do? He said this Navkar mantra to the snakes. Because the snakes heard the Navkar mantra just before they died, they were born as Dev, as celestial beings. So how important is this Navkar mantra? Only once they heard it. And yet, because they heard it and they took a form of Dharnendra Dev and Padmavati Devi. If you all know, in so many of our temples, Jain Derasar, where there is Lord Parshvanath, you will definitely find one deity called Padmavati Mata and one Dharnendra Dev. So this is the fruit of listening to Navkar mantra. So children, I'm sure you all want to know the meaning of Navkar mantra, because we don't have to just say it like that. You have to really know what it means to recite the Navkar mantra. Now, one of you all will tell me the first line, whoever knows it. Namo. Who will say the first line? So many of you all put your hands up that I know Navkar mantra. Okay, so say one line. Namo. So repeat all of you all. Namo Arihantanam. Loudly. Very good. So what does Namo Arihantanam mean? Namo means you bow down. And Arihant is the Lord who has destroyed all his inner enemies. We all know we may have enemies or friends whom we don't like or friends who don't like us. But Arihant means they have destroyed their inner enemies. You know who are our inner enemies? Anger. You like it when your parents get angry with you? You don't like it, no? Then there is pride. Then there is deceit and greed. These are our 4 inner enemies. So will you repeat with me? Anger, pride, deceit and greed. So when we first sentence that we say, Namo Arihantanam, means we bow down to Arihant, the person who has destroyed all these inner enemies. So that is the first thing. Now Anam. Namo means you bow down. Arihant is the person who has destroyed all his inner enemies. Anam is Agna, instructions. So when I bow down to Tirthankar, whether Vasupujya Bhagwan or Lord Mahavir or Lord Parshvanath, I am saying I am ready to follow your instructions. So Arihant says that I have destroyed my inner enemies, you must also do the same thing. So next time when you get angry, you have to say Namo Arihantanam, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Arihantanam. Then the anger will quieten down. When you are upset with somebody, when you feel like crying, when you are disheartened, then also you all can say 3 times or 5 times Namo Arihantanam. Then whatever you are feeling within you will get softened, will settle down. This is the first sentence. So what does it mean? I bow down to the Arihant who has destroyed inner enemies and I pledge to follow his instructions. Right? Understood? Clear? Okay. Now, second. What is the second sentence? Namo. Yes? Siddhanam. Namo Siddhanam. Say it again. Namo. So the first line was Namo and second Siddhanam. Now again Namo is common in all the 5. So Namo means I bow down to. Now whom do we bow down to? Siddha Bhagwan. I bow down to all the lords who have attained final liberation. So they are staying in moksha and they will never come back on this earth again. because they have liberated themselves. Now their agna is, what are their instructions? That I will also work to remove all my karmas and be liberated. If you are kept in one room for a long time, what would you want to do? You would want to get out. Some days, suppose the weather is bad and you're not allowed to get out of the house. Then after a few days, what do you want to do? You want to get out of the house. Similarly, our soul is trapped in this body. After some time, once we realize, we want to liberate our soul. So therefore, we bow down to the souls who have liberated themselves and we pledge to follow their agnas. So when we grow up, when you'll understand a little more, you can go and to the deeper meaning of Namo Siddhanam. Now we come to the third one. Namo. Who else knows what is the third one? No. Anybody else? Yes? Ayariyanam. So Namo Ayariyanam. Now tell me, Namo means what? What did we say Namo means? Loudly. I bow down to. Right? Now whom do we bow down to? In the third Vandan is to whom? I bow down to all the self-realized masters who unfold the path of liberation. Who is going to teach me? Because I said that I want to liberate my soul. Now who is going to teach me? Acharya Bhagwant. Those who are self-realized. So we'll say all the three things again. Namo Arihantanam. Namo Dhyanam. Very good. And we pledge to follow the instructions of Arihant Bhagwan, Siddha Bhagwan and Acharya Bhagwan. Now the fourth one. What is the fourth one? Yes? Now say it properly. Namo Vajjayanam. Very good. So I bow down to self-realized teachers of the path of liberation. So they are going to teach me how can I liberate myself. So I pledge to follow the instructions of the self-realized teachers. That is fourth. So now we say all the four together. Namo Very good. Now the last, fifth one. Namo Loe, yes? Namo Loe Savva Sahunam. Means, Namo is what? Now all of you all know by now. What is Namo? I bow down to. Now whom are we going to bow? What is the fifth Vandan to? I bow down to all who have attained the self and are progressing on the path in this full universe. See how wide is our horizon. We are not only bowing down to Sadhu Bhagwan whom we can see here, but to all of them in the full universe. And we pledge to follow their agnas. So these, again we say the 5 Vandans. First, Namo. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, Savva Sahunam. Okay, now before going ahead, we'll do some little more riddles so that you all know what is it. Who is the king of the stationery set? You know what is stationery? What do you take to school? How many things you take to school? You take a pencil, then eraser, then sharpener, then you put it all in your pen pouch, right? So all that you have in your pencil box, who is the king of the stationery? No, you know everything. Okay, you tell me. Ruler, yes. So ruler is the king of the stationery. Now, one more, okay. What are the strongest days of the week? What are the strongest days of the week? Anybody? Yes?
Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, why?
Because there's a weekend.
Because they are not weekdays. Right? So Saturday and Sunday are the strongest days because they are not weekdays. Nice? Okay, now we go back to our session. So we did 5 vandans and we said we are going to do bow down to all the 5. So next time you say Namo Ryantanam, you know whom you are bowing down to and whose instructions or agnas we need to follow. Now next, further. Do you know આગળ આપણે શું બોલીએ છીએ? After this? Eso. Say it loudly together, all those who know. Eso. So, yes. Eso pancha namokaro. So, these are 5 salutations which we did to Arihant, Siddh, Acharya, Upadhyay and all the sadhus. So there are 5, right? So these 5 salutations, Eso Panch. Panch means 5. Namo Karo, which we did all the 5 vandans. Then Savva, power. Very good. So Savva means all. Pava Panasano, meaning destroy all the sins. Why am I saying this Navkar mantra? Because these 5 salutations to the Arihant, Siddh, Acharya, Upadhyay and Sadhu, they destroy all my sins. There are so many wrong things we do, right? If mom says don't eat the chocolate and yet we do eat it without telling her. Or so many little things we do. Our teacher says you have to do this homework and then we don't do it. That is also wrong. So there are little children do little sins. Bigger people do bigger sins. But the Navkar mantra is for everyone. So it destroys all the sins. Then Mangalanancha Savvesim, of all the auspicious mantras that are there. So many mantras are there in this world. But out of all the auspicious mantras, Paramam Havai Mangalam, this mantra, this Navkar mantra is the highest. So this recitation of Navkar mantra can give us protection, provided it is said with the correct understanding. That's why today, even if though you all are small children, but little you all have understood that why I must recite the Navkar mantra? Because I am bowing down to higher souls and I am pledging to obey their instructions. Otherwise, it will not give the right gain. Now, I'll tell you another small story. Once there was a husband and a wife, and the wife saw a beautiful queen's necklace. The queen was wearing a beautiful necklace. Now she insisted to her husband that I want this necklace. Her husband explained to her that this is the queen's necklace. How am I going to get it? She said, beg, borrow, steal, do anything, but I want this necklace. So what does he do? In the night, he goes to the king's palace and he checks where the queen's necklace is. He goes there and he quietly steals the necklace. But because it was the queen's necklace, it was full of diamonds and emeralds and rubies and precious stones. So it was shining. And in the dark, it was shining. So the guards caught him. They caught him and they took him to the king. And naturally, the king was very angry. So he said, I am going to give you a death sentence. And in those days, they would hang the thieves or the people who do wrong in public. So he was put up, there was a hose, and then he had to stand there, and they were going to hang him. And he was really very upset, and he was crying. At that time, there was one Sreshti, one Jain householder, but a very pious person who used to say Navkar mantra every single day. And he would really count 108 times Navkar mantra. So he passes by from there. And the thief tells him, I'm really very thirsty. You please bring water for me at least. I know I'm going to die, but this is my last wish. Now the Dhanarshi Sheth was his name. Now that Sheth was counting Navkar mantra. Now he told him, okay, I'm counting Navkar mantra, my mala will be halfway through. So I'm giving it to you till I go and bring the water, you count Navkar mantra for me. So he says, okay, I will count Navkar mantra for you till you go and bring water for me. So he starts counting Navkar mantra. And with full faith, he counts the Navkar mantra. Then Dhandat Sheth comes, gives him water, he drinks water, and then Sheth goes away to his work. Now what happens? The king's people come to hang him, and they are not able to hang him. Because of the Navkar mantra, that nose became like a garland of flowers, and he was saved. So this is a true story. This is the power of Navkar mantra. Therefore, we have to recite it regularly, and also we have to recite it with this little understanding that your little minds have. That I am going to bow down to Arihant, to Siddh, to Acharya, to Upadhyay, and to all the sadhus. Why? Because they will protect me. So reciting it properly will elevate all worries. It removes all conflict from a person's home. Any conflict in the house, any conflict in the school, any conflict where you've gone in the park, just recite this Navkar mantra with full faith. Now this mantra will make the path of suffering appear as if it's a pinprick. See, for example, you're sick and you have fever, you have lot of cough, and you have headache, body ache, and you're really feeling very painful. Mom takes you to the doctor gives you medicines, but till the time the medicine affects, the pain is still there, right? You all must recite this Navkar mantra with full faith, because today you have learned the meaning. Close your eyes, and what will happen? The pain that is there will become like a mere pinprick. It will reduce, it will calm you down. This mantra is for everyone who wishes to wash away their sins. Now a little break again. Okay, so one more riddle. There's a student. The student tells the teacher, "Ma'am, will you punish me for something I have not done?" If you tell your mummy or your teacher, "Will you punish me for something you have not done?" What will she say? She'll say, "No, I will, of course not. I will not punish you for something you have not done." So then the student says, "Thank you, mom, thank you, ma'am, or thank you, mom. Good, because I didn't do my homework." How was that? So this is it. So she says, now again we go back to benefits of chanting the Navkar mantra. Because the parents are also here, I thought that a little bit of more benefits of chanting the Navkar mantra. It brings peace and calmness in our mind and soul. Whenever we are also upset or we are also worried about something, then Navkar mantra calms us down and brings peace to our mind and soul. Secondly, It has the most powerful cleansing effect on the mind, body, soul of every individual who chants the Navkar mantra. Whether you are a Jain or you are not a Jain, the power is of the mantra. And if you do it with understanding. Thirdly, it can wash all sins and lead the individual towards spiritual growth and fulfillment. This Navkar mantra, if you see, has no names. It has no names of any gods. Generally, whenever they have mantras, it has to do with Lord Shiva, it has to do with Lord Ganesha, it has to do with Lord Krishna, it has to do with any of the other gods or lords. But Navkar mantra is such that it has no names. કારણ કે ગુણને વંદન કરીએ છીએ. When we say Arihantanam, Lord has annihilated all his inner enemies. Therefore we do Vandan. So whoever, koi naam Navkar mantra ni andar nathi. The person chanting the Navkar mantra goes fearless and confident. When your children go to give your exams, when you are scared about anything, when there's fear in your minds, you must count or recite this Navkar mantra. It will make you confident. If you are taking part in some sports, in some competition, in some examination, before you go there, close your eyes and recite this Navkar mantra. It will make you very confident. It acts like a divine shield protecting the individual from all harms and dangers. There was a couple and they were walking and they were to go from one place to another place. And there was a jungle in the middle and they lost their way. But the wife was very spiritual and she used to recite Navkar mantra and they were really scared. So the husband says, what will we do now? It's become dark. We don't know the way. We don't know the path, the jungle, and then the animals roaring away. And they were really scared. So the wife says, don't worry. She finds a nice tree. She sits down next to the tree. And then she closes her eyes and she starts reciting the Navkar mantra. And after some time, what happens? She gets up and somebody comes and tells them, do you want to go out of this jungle? I will show you the path. So the Dev, celestial being, came down and helped them to cross over the jungle. These are all real stories. These are not fictional, or these are facts. So it helps the individual from all dangers. It can dispel the fear of death. When you અત્યારે તો તમે નાના છો, you all don't really understand what is death, but the older people do fear death. Now, after this basic understanding of Navkar mantra, the end of this session is, try and say Navkar mantra 8 times when you wake up in the morning. Because, like we said, Siddh Bhagwan destroyed all karmas. So, there are 8 karmas. There are lots of karmas, but it is shortened to 8 karmas. So, when you get up in the morning, recite the Navkar mantra 8 times. જેથી 8 કર્મ પાતળા પડે અથવા એનો ક્ષય આપણે ધીમે ધીમે કરી શકીએ. And before you go to sleep, you have to say Navkar mantra 7 times. Because there are 7 types of fears that are quoted in our scriptures by Lord Mahavir. So there is fear in this era, in these times, Lok Bhai, where we are staying. There's fear of Parlok, what is going to happen to me in future. So many children ask me that my grandmom passed away. Where is the soul going to go now? What must have happened to her? So this is Parlok Bhai. Akasmat, accident, fear of accident. 4th, fear of death. Fifth, apyash, meaning somebody will insult me, somebody will talk ill about me, somebody will misunderstand me. There's fear of all this. Sixth, calamities, earthquakes, drought. There's fear of that. And last, fear of theft. So like this, these are 7 fears that we have, which scriptures have said. And we need to overcome these fears. And for that, we need to say Navkar mantra 7 times in the night before we go to sleep. So all of you all now know what Navkar mantra means, how it's going to benefit us, and how many times we need to say this Navkar mantra. So this is where I think we can end our session. If you have any questions, you can ask. So we'll say Sadguru Dev ki Jai, Param Kripalu Dev ki Jai, Mahavir Swami Bhagwan ki Jai, Sab Santan ki Jai, Jin Shasan Dev ki Jai, Bolo Shri Vasupujya Bhagwan ki Jai, Sadguru Dev ki Jai. Thank you.